It was a house full of 5 men.
Creepy. It was creepy.
It was creepy. It was like a little bit of flirting from the old man.
Yeah. Aggressive eye contact. Like,
yeah.
Like scary, creepy, like... We just started like walking aimlessly around the city with these random young men with us. I don't know, but I was like, why are you flirting with me on Google Translate right now? I don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable. We just now need to focus on being able to get out of here.
I just want to say that we're not like complete idiots for doing whoop/workaway, because our first stay was like really good.
And men do this all the time and have great experiences.
So we get to the second stay and we were supposed to stay there for 2 weeks. How much do we want to say?
Let's just say everything. I say let's full disclosure. Let's be honest with the audience. To be anonymous, let's just call him and his son. So there's 2 men we stayed with, the main people. There's Fernando, and he's like 35, 40. And then there's Fernando, his dad. He's like 80, 85, maybe.
So we get there. The city that we were in was very, very hot. And the work that we're doing is like in the garden. So it was going to be like us working in like 100-degree heat every day.
Yeah.
So we were already kind of like nervous about that. And the first day I had gotten like a bad migraine from the heat.
But wait, when we first got there even, you clocked the vibes right away.
Yeah.
I was kind of like looking through with my rose-colored lenses. I was like, oh, this place is cool. Like, oh yeah, the rest of the people here are boys, but that's okay. Like, that's fun. That's fun for us.
Yeah, so there were 3 other workawayers like us there. But they were all boys, ages like 18 to 23.
2 from Morocco, 1 from Australia.
Yes, so we were the only women in this whole place.
Fernando, the dad, has a wife, but she lives in a separate area and doesn't ever interact with any of the woofers, which is kind of strange, but whatever.
Yeah, so it was like the first night, Fernando's son, who was kind of like our boss, I guess, took us on a walk and we met all of his neighbors, and it almost kind of felt like he was showing us off and kept on being like, these are the American girls, like blah blah blah, and we're like, okay, and it was fine. We had dinner with them each night, which was like they kept feeding us wine.
It's important to note that the only person that spoke English was the Australian dude and Fernando's son. Fernando's son, Fernando Jr. We'll call him, for the sake of this story, we'll call him Fernando Pequeño and Fernando Grande. And the rules weren't clear, our work wasn't clear. The first day, we woke up like around, well, first of all, they didn't even tell us when to wake up to work. We woke up around like, we asked them what time to wake up, and they were like, whenever you want. And we were like, okay, that's really weird. Because we were used to working last week. We worked in a place where like, they were like, okay, you wake up at this time. Here's what we're going to have you do for this amount of time. Here's how to do it. And that's what we liked. Like, that's what was good. And it wasn't like that here. And Fernando Pequeño was at the fields working all day. And when he came back, he was like upset with us.
Yeah.
For not doing what he wanted, even though we had been working for like 3 or 4 hours in the hot sun. Yeah. Doing a good job, like pulling weeds from the garden. Yeah. And he wanted us to do more, but he didn't tell us how or what exactly he wanted, but he just got pissed off.
We were kind of like frustrated and confused why like we worked all morning and then he came home, was mad at us that we didn't do what he wanted to do, what he wanted us to do, which he didn't tell us what or how to do this. And then he wanted us to continue working in the night. when it got cooler, it was just like the communication was so bad.
And it wasn't even because we didn't understand him. We did understand him. I could understand everything. My Spanish was pretty good.
Yeah.
I understood everything. We were able to communicate well. There was no language barrier. It was like
an expectation barrier.
Yeah.
Or like issue, I guess, but I don't know. It was like they never told us what they wanted. And also there was another workawayer there that said that he didn't work, that he just like lived there for free. So
yeah,
and he was
really
like
strange,
judging us / laughing at us for like wanting to work. I don't know. It was just like every single person there had like different expectations. So that was like made us confused and frustrated and uncomfortable.
And the first night when we were having dinner, Fernando Grande was like talking to me and he was like, "What race are you?" And I was like, "Oh, because you're really brown. You're really brown. What race are you?" And I was like, okay. A lot of people love calling me morena. Like, I don't know why they want to point it out, but like, yeah, I'm brown.
It was like every single person we met in like, not in like a short interaction like a coffee shop or something like that, but every like personal interaction we had was somebody commenting on Lily, like how dark Lily was.
Yeah, so he was like, "What race are you?" And I was like, okay, I'm half white, I'm half Indian. And he thought I meant Indian, like Native American. So he started listing like tribes. He was like Apache, Cherokee. I was like, no, not that kind. That's not Indian, that's Native American. I'm talking Indian. And he was like, "Oh, well, people from India have the most beautiful skin color and eyes. Your eyes are just so expressive and big and beautiful." And I was like, okay, thanks. Creepy. It was creepy.
It was creepy. It was like a little bit of flirting from the old man.
Yeah.
Fernando Jr. had like creepy eye contact as well. Like he was always making eye contact and like smiling with us. Like smiling at us.
Like aggressive eye contact. Like,
yeah.
Like scary, creepy, like... You smile.
Exactly like that. So we were having like general work problems. So we were like, I don't know if we can work for 2 weeks straight. The next day, like things started getting like creepy in like a sexual, like flirty way. They took us into the city and we had met like another man that was friends with Fernando Grande.
Fernando Grande, for some reason, knew all of the people in the city, all of the young boys in the city. He like knew all of them. But he basically, all of them called him father. Like they all called him their father. And so like you can obviously tell like he had a lot of influence on these young men. And there was so many of them. And we pulled up to like this car park in the city and we're immediately surrounded by a bunch of these young men. We just started like walking aimlessly around the city with these random young men with us that were just like talking to us, asking us questions like where we were from. Like one of them was definitely flirting. And then eventually we met up with one of the other people who were staying with us, one of the other boys that was staying with us. And then we all got dinner.
And at the dinner table, it was like everybody was speaking in different languages, which is like cool and stuff. But there was a point when I had noticed that Fernando Grande was talking to like 2 of the guys who were interested in Lily, and he was like making it like sexual like comment basically. And so that's when it was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. I don't think it's appropriate that they're talking like that about us.
Right in front of us. And like, yeah, they were speaking Arabic and French in addition to Spanish. We only understand Spanish, but I couldn't hear the conversation. It was in front of Anne.
Yeah.
But it was definitely insinuating something really disgusting and inappropriate.
And then on the way back home, one of the other woofers started like asked Lily for her Snapchat and like got out.
No, he was like, "Give me your Snapchat, give me your phone, give me your Snapchat." I was like, okay, that's harmless. I'll give him my phone, he'll put in his Snapchat, whatever. He adds himself on Snapchat, Immediately on his Snapchat story, I see him putting a picture of drugs. Like he's selling drugs. And then he gets out his phone, or he gets out my phone. He's like, I want to talk on your phone. And so he gets up on my phone and puts on Google Translate. And then it starts writing on Google Translate, and is like, he's texting stuff in French to me. It's translated to English. So it's like, do you have boyfriend? And I'm like, no, I guess I should have lied and said yeah, but I don't have a boyfriend. And he's like, you can keep the men in your phone in your back pocket, but me in your heart. I am in your heart. And then he was like, you have the most beautiful eyes. Your eyes. I am in love with your eyes, he said. And I was like, okay, why are you flirting with me over Google Translate?
Yeah.
And he didn't know what the word flirt meant, even though I put it in Google Translate, so I don't understand how he didn't understand what it meant, but whatever. Maybe he was being ridiculous. I don't know, but I was like, why are you flirting with me on Google Translate right now? He like just kept like looking at me like he wanted me. Like, it was so gross. I felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then we got home and went to sleep, and everything was fine. We thought. Well, we felt weird.
We felt weird, but we were like, okay. And the next morning we woke up and we were like, we really don't want to be here. And the attitude of Fernando Jr. is like really temperamental. Like, we really don't want to get yelled at today. Like,
the temperature is so fucking hot. Yeah. So ridiculously, unbearably hot.
So we woke up and we were just like, we don't want to do this.
But we decided at first, we were like, okay, we can only finish out the week.
Yeah.
We can't do 2 weeks. We're gonna finish out the week. But then we get up and go into the main house, because we're staying in a separate little house just by ourselves, me and Anne. So luckily we had a door that locked, and it was just me and Anne in a separate little place. Mm-hmm. So we did feel safe there. But I mean, Fernando Jr. had a key. Had another key.
Yeah.
So he could have, I don't know. On Tuesday morning, when we're in the kitchen, we make food. But before we go inside the kitchen, or was it after, the boy who flirted with me in the car on Google Translate the night before, like, turns to me. He's talking to me and Anne. He's like, we're not good communicators. Like, you don't understand me. And I was like, and we were like, what?
We're like, yes, we understand you.
Yeah.
Like, why are you saying this? Is there a problem?
And then he turns to me and he goes, you're a bad girl. You're a bad girl. And I was like, what the actual, what the fuck? And then he walks away, and Anne looks at me, and while Anne's turned away, he like winks at me like this. And I was like, oh my god, this man, I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then we go inside, we make breakfast, everything's fine. Fernando Grande showing us how to make bread. And
at first we were like, okay, this is chill. Like, I guess we don't have to work outside in the heat today. We can just watch this old man make bread. Like, good vibes. Also, at this point, it was like, even though he had low-key flirted with Lily a couple nights ago, we were like, okay, he seems like he just wants, like, people to listen to him and keep him company. Like, he doesn't really seem that, like, threatening, really. We were, like, waiting for the bread to rise, and then he gets a call on his phone from one of the guys that we had dinner with the night before, who wasn't a woofer, just, like, a random guy.
Yeah, and on the phone call, it's in Spanish, and I'm there, and I'm listening to it, and I'm understanding about, like, 80% of what's being said, and basically on the phone, and it's on speakerphone.
With us right there.
With us right there. Which made no sense to me. It's like he wanted us to know. He knows that I understand Spanish very well. So I don't know why he was letting this conversation take place.
Yeah.
Period. I don't know why, period, it was happening. And let alone on speakerphone. But anyway, so it was said, the guy on the phone said, wow, those two girls from Indiana, those two girls from Indiana are so cute. I want to see them again. And I want Lily, me, they were talking about me, I want her to send me the pictures that we took last night because I want her phone number. And then he was like, and I also want 4 of my friends to come with me to spend the night with the American girls. We want to come and spend the night over at your house Fernando Grande. We want to come to your house and spend the night with the American girls. So I was like, okay, that's really strange on the phone call. I turned towards Anne to see if she was listening. You had heard. Had you heard?
I had only heard him saying like
Chica Stay Indiana.
Chica Stay Indiana. And I was like, why are they talking about this right now?
Right. And then he hangs up. We're like, okay, that was weird. I start going like, okay, Anne, he leaves. I'm like, Anne, we need to leave. I'm getting so anxious and uncomfortable. I hate this. I hate the way we're being treated right now.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and there's another phone call. I don't know who this time it was with. Could have been somebody different entirely. Not even sure. But he goes, this is, when I say he, I'm talking about Fernando Grande. Fernando Grande is saying, hi, we're gonna go to the river today. And the two beautiful American women will be there in their swimsuits. You guys can all hang out with them. And I was like, okay, that's really fucking weird. That's just gross. What is going on here? Something bad is gonna happen if we go to the river.
Which, also for some context, the 2 days before, they had invited us to go to the lake with them and go to these natural springs with them, like swimming things. And both days we were like, we don't really, like, we just met these people. We don't really want to hang out with them in our bathing suits.
Yeah.
Like, that's really awkward.
Because we were already being objectified. They were already calling us, like, beautiful, and who knows? I just felt that, no, I mean, it was pretty obvious that they were gonna try and make some moves or do something.
Yeah.
And because we're women, I guess that's just, you know, the things we have to deal with that the other woofers that were men don't have to deal with.
Yeah. And we asked one of the other woofers, the one that like only spoke English, we're like, what's the tea about this place? Like, what is there something going on? Because we feel like there's something going on. And he was like, because he had been there for 2 weeks, and he was like, no, like everything's been fine. Like, they are upset with me sometimes because I don't speak Spanish that well, but like that's
So basically Anne and I were like, okay, we're in a situation that we need to get out of. We don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable. We just now need to focus on being able to get out of here, because the only way that we are able to get back into the city is to have one of them drive us into the city. There's no cabs, there's no Ubers that you can call. The walk into the city is probably like 2 hours. And it's 100 degrees outside, and it's not like we can just walk into the city easily. So we're like, okay, I texted my mom. I was like, what do we do? We don't feel safe. We need to leave immediately. And my mom was like, okay, we're gonna pretend like I got into a car accident and that you need to come back to the United States immediately. So my dad texted me and he was like, Mom there's been some bad storms in town. Mom's gotten into a car accident. It's really bad. You need to come home. Don't panic. Tell the people that you're with that you need to come back immediately. And so I like, Anne and I both put on like this fucking Emmy winning performance. Like, and I hate that we had to do this, but it's the only way we were able to escape was to lie. And we didn't feel good about it, but that honestly made it easier to act. Yeah. Because we were feeling so shitty that it helped with our acting, I guess. Method acting for real.
Yeah.
So I started crying and shaking, and I was like, oh my God, my mom's gotten into a terrible accident. Fernando Grande, look at this message my dad just sent me. I translated it for him. He read it and he was like, oh, okay, look at me. Like, we can get through this. You need to pack your bags, get everything together. I'll take you to the train station. Like, okay, you don't worry, like, calm down. Cause I was freaking out. I was freaking out. I was crying and I was shaking, like,
and I was trying to be like, Lily, it's gonna be okay. Like, she's gonna be okay.
Like, it was real. It felt real. But yeah, so basically we were able to make it so that Fernando Grande could take us to the train station. And like, it felt like he was stalling to me to take us there.
Yeah, so we were like feeling, he was like, okay, go pack your suitcases. So we packed our suitcases. We're like, okay, we just need to like, we don't know what we're gonna do. once we leave this place, because we're in Europe, we're supposed to be like working here for the next 2 weeks. We don't really have anywhere to go. It was an option for us to go back to our other like workaway hosts, but we were like, we don't really know what to do or where to go, but all we know is that we need to leave this place like immediately. So we found flights to like have something to go off of, kind of, and there was a flight that went from where we were to Dublin, Ireland, to like New York to home. And so at that point we were like, we've been talking about going to Dublin, like we really want to go to Dublin, like what if we just fucking go to Dublin?
Right. Yeah.
So at this point we're like, okay, let's buy the train ticket, let's have them take us to the train station.
And originally Fernando Grande was mad that we bought train tickets.
What did he want us to do?
He wanted us to go in the car with him and drive all the way, which would have been
2 hours in the car.
2 hours in the car, which wouldn't have made sense for him to do that. It would not have made sense. So I don't know why he offered to do that, because he wouldn't. I don't know. He wouldn't have even been able to.
Yeah.
So that was really creepy that he even offered to do that, because, and yeah, anyways. But then we ended up finally getting our tickets. He finally let us leave. We get in the car, we drive to the train station. It's only supposed to take 30 minutes to get there. He keeps turning the wrong way and going different ways because I have the directions up on my phone. It extends our trip by like 20 minutes, and he has to pull over on the side of the road to ask random people for directions to the train station.
Even though he's lived there for a very long time.
So it was really stressful and really just like, yeah, just scary.
So he's like driving to the train station and there are a bunch of roads closed, so he like parks in a random parking lot. We get our stuff and we're like, okay, like thank you for everything, like sorry we have to go. And then he's like, no, I'll walk you. We walk into the train station and a familiar face pops up. Who was it, Lily?
So the reason why I think Fernando Grande was stalling for us was because I think he was trying to get time for the guy who called me a bad girl, the one who flirted with me in the car, the one who winked at me. He showed up in the train station. He's just there. And he's like, hi guys, like, I'm here, hey. And then Fernando Grande is like, oh, I need to take you to buy tickets. And we had told him like 3 or 4 times. We'd showed him that we'd already had tickets. So I don't know what the hell he was trying to have us do. But he was trying to take us into like a little corner. I don't know what he was trying to do. Yeah, and then we go into the area where we need to go, and he's also telling us not to go there, even though we know that's the right area.
I was confused.
I was like, we need to go to Via Dos, then we need to go to the platform 2. He was trying to lead us into the wrong direction. I don't know if he was just being like clueless, or maybe he truly didn't know. But then the kid who was in love with me was like, give me your bag. And I was like, okay, what if he just takes my bag and starts running? But he didn't. He just like is carrying my bag to the security check-in, which is literally like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you really don't have to do that. But he's like, no, I take your bag, my queen. And I'm like, okay. And so we get into the area, we get into the security area. We're like waiting. He's like, we need to take a selfie. Me, you, and Anne, we need to take a selfie. So we take a selfie, and then he gives the phone to Anne, and he's like, we need to have a picture of just me and him. And we take a picture, me and him. And then he like hugs me and like gives me a kiss on the cheek and tries to smack my butt. But I'm wearing my backpack, so he can't. So it's really awkward. He's like patting my backpack, and I'm like trying to like get out of his grasp. And like, I'm like, what is going on? And then finally, Fernando Grande says goodbye to us and leaves. Oh, and then he makes me pull out Google Translate again, and he's like, I want to talk. So he's like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, never. And he's like, you're my love. You will always have my heart. I've known this man for less than 48 hours. And he's like, you will always have my heart. Like, you are always in my heart. Goodbye. So upsetting. So gross.
So eventually there was like 10 minutes left before it was time for our train to leave. So we're like, okay, it's time to go. So eventually we like give our hugs. We're like, thanks again for everything. Like, so sorry we have to leave. Like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hope your mother is better. Like, good luck with your mother, whatever. So we run. We go to the bathroom. We get on the train and we're like, what the hell just happened? Both of us have been like building up the emotion and trying to act like her mom had gotten in a wreck the whole day. So we were like so emotionally drained. We got on the train, we're like, oh my god, we're safe. And then we were in an empty train car.
The entire train car is empty.
So we're just like talking about like, oh my god, and we're like,
we're finally safe, we're okay, we're finally away from creepy men.
And then in walks this man who has like, he looks like he walks straight out of the 70s. These Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. And he sits, if we're...
No, he didn't sit down at first. He walks past us, doubles back, and then sits down in the seat a couple seats away from us, directly facing us. And then he starts like sucking on some sort of like piece of candy, and he puts on his sunglasses and he's just staring at us.
Yeah.
And we're like, come on! What is going on? What is going on, and why can't these men just leave us alone?
Literally.
Yeah, we get to the next stop and we get our stuff down and we act like we're leaving, and he's like, he gets up and he's like, you have to leave, and he's speaking Spanish. He's like, oh, you need to take your stuff and leave fast. If you're leaving on this stop, you have to leave fast.
We're like, we know.
We're like, we know. And I was like, we're not leaving, thanks.
Yeah.
And we went into a different train car to get away from him.
So then we took the train to Alicante. We decided to stay the night there in a hotel and then book tickets the next day to Dublin, following the path that our like supposed flight was supposed to take. We're like, we just need to get out of Spain.
Can we insert the video of the Snapchat story of the dude? Or would it be, can you blur his face out?
I can blur his face out.
Put that video in there, because he asked me to send him that photo on Snapchat, and I did, and I was like, fine. He put it on his Snapchat story. He was like, good luck, my love. I'm like, what the? So we're in Dublin now.
We're in Dublin, and we've never been happier in our entire lives. Like, we went to the pub, we had a beer, we had burgers.
So good.
And just literally being here, just
the temperature is so nice here.
The temperature is like 65. It's like windy.
The people don't even look at us when we're walking on the street.
The people are nice. Nobody cares. And in Spain, it was like every waiter like had an attitude with us.
Right.
Or, like, looked at us or judged us or
like was looking at us like we're just like on a menu for them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And also, every place that we stayed, like, everything we ate was just, like, raw vegetables.
Which was cute. I mean, nice. Like, from the garden to our table.
It was nice.
But not for, like, the only thing for you to have. Especially because Anne's vegetarian. Like, only eating raw vegetables is...
Also, we walked down the street today and we heard someone speaking in Spanish. We were like... So I'm like really hoping that my relationship with Spanish in Spain is not like tarnished forever. I don't know. We don't know what to do. Now we have nothing to do for a week and a half and don't want to like spend an outrageous amount of money just like...
But the good news? Tell them the good news.
The good news is that since we randomly flew to Dublin and then found out that one of my brother's friends is here, just like living here for the summer. So we asked him if we could stay with him and he said yes. So we're in a hotel for a couple days and then we're gonna go stay with him. Overall, if I had to give any advice to women pursuing workaway or woof options, I would say 1, definitely do it with somebody.
Yes, never do it by yourself ever.
And also I would highly suggest staying with like a woman, a female host
at the least, or maybe a married couple. If you
Yeah.
can verify that they have had good reviews, a married couple that's older
Yeah.
but doesn't have a son staying with them.
It's not like taking a chance on somebody who doesn't have reviews or somebody who you are like not certain about. It's not worth doing.
And this person did have good reviews, which was the crazy part.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm like, maybe we should leave a scathing review so that way another woman doesn't have to find herself in this terrifying situation.
Because it's also like, we could have told the truth that we weren't comfortable there, but it had gotten to the point where we were like, our host is like putting us in situations where other men can prey on us.
Yeah.
So
It literally felt like he was pimping us out.
So like, what do you do? Like, do you take the risk of like having an argument in a place where you're already not safe, like in order to like tell the truth of what's going on, or do you prioritize your safety and like make a scene and get out of there as fast as you can?
And I think we did. I think we made the right decision.
I think so too.
So that's a thing you can do if you're in trouble. Have your dad text you that your mom's in a horrible accident, and to not panic, but to tell the people you're staying with that you need to go back to the United States immediately because she's in critical condition.
But yeah, I'm like anxious that they're going to find our social medias, or that they're gonna like find this or whatever. Like, that's the other thing, I don't want to leave a review because I don't want to like make him upset,
yeah.
and then to like try to find me online.
Right. Because they have our photos. They have photos of our faces. They have our first and last names.
They have our phone numbers, our WhatsApp.
They have our phone numbers, our
emails.
WhatsApp, our emails.
Yeah.
They know our hometown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our story.
So fucked up, but we're the luckiest girls in the world.
But we're the luckiest girls in the world, so like we got
escaped.
out of there when we knew things were turning.
And none of us got assaulted, which really felt like it was very close to happening.
Yeah.
Really felt close. I mean, I sort of got groped from that little butt tap, but I mean, my backpack was blocking it.
Yeah. Luckiest girls in the world.
Luckiest girls in the world.
One more thing I will say is that I read tarot cards about the situation when things started getting bad. We were like,
before the phone calls we overheard,
we were like pretty anxious, so I was like, I need to do a tarot reading and see if we need to like leave or what to do. And I was pulling crazy cards like the death card, the tower card, the 10 of swords, which is like a woman like lying with her eyes closed in the river with like things in the air. And usually those cards have meanings of like they have different meanings, but I didn't feel like they meant anything else. It was just really scary. When we talked about like the phone call about the river, I don't know, things were just like adding up where we were like,
after you reading that tarot, or because you read that tarot the night before, and then after hearing that phone call the day after, that's what really did it for me. And I was like, okay, screw the plan to only stay here for a week now. We need to get out of here today. Like, we need to leave now.
Yeah.
I don't want to see what's going to happen at the river. Maybe nothing was going to happen, but to be in a situation with like a bunch of men wanting to see us in our swimsuits and talking about it, and after that sexual comment made at dinner by the dad.
But yeah, that's the other thing, is that like he felt like somebody who was our friend, but then he like was basically, like pimping us out, or like inviting these people who obviously like wanted to have sex with us to stay at the house, and there was no, it was just like not even a question if that would make us uncomfortable or not. So yeah, we really believe that we escaped like a bad situation, that something bad was gonna happen.
Whether it had been the heat, the people, the work, any part of it, any aspect of it had the very likely possibility of going very wrong.
Yeah.
We're safe.
But we're safe now, and we're just shooting the shit in Europe now, I guess. And whatever money we spend, I guess we'll just work it back. I'll just close out with, if you have doubts or you have a gut feeling about something, you should definitely follow it.
Yeah, always trust your intuition.
But
you're your best guide.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I'm glad that we trusted our guts there.
Yeah.
Whew!
Yeah. Okay.